And we want to continue our conversation about the Fed, the several speakers, right? Some things that we've heard about. Neil Kashkari, for example. Seth Cohen's with us, Vice President, Executive Director for the Wealth Alliance, and wanted to get some of your thoughts on the big picture.
Hi, Nicole. Thank you for having me here today. Big thoughts. It's a Nvidia market at the moment. Right now, at least in the short run, it seems that we're trading on momentum and a lot of fear of missing out. We see a lot of this continue to be centered around these Mag 7 stocks that are there. And we just can't discount investor psychology at this time and the interest of them wanting to get into this market and continuing it. And that's where I think we are for right now at this moment in time.
I think there are people who probably had some FOMO and said, look, Nvidia is doing so great. It's been amazing. I want to get in, but it's run up so much. And look, it ran up again and hit new highs today. So even if someone got in late, they still are making money. So what's to say that maybe some of these Magnificent Seven may be good plays for the next few years? I mean, year to date, Nvidia is up 129%.
Yeah, well, rather than talk about for the next few years, I think the kind of market we're in right now is talking about a little bit shorter term. Although that being said, I think with the interest in artificial intelligence so great today and definitely a real thing in the market, we will see this broadening out, and we are seeing it broadening out to other stocks as well. As a matter of fact, any company that mentions the word Nvidia or mentions artificial intelligence seems to go higher right now. I think we see Nvidia, I don't know where we are at this moment in time, but right before I came on air, it was over 1,100, and I think we can easily go higher heading into the split that we're about to see. And I think there are people that want to continue getting into Nvidia as well as getting into some of the other stocks. We've seen AMD as an example, who had a little bit of a scare last week, make up for more than that scare just today, has been doing very well and coming back strong. So I think this fear of missing out is definitely 100% true. What I'd like to see, though, a little bit is this getting a little bit, broadening a little bit more than from where we are at this particular time.
While Amazon has made strides developing its own AI chips, the e-commerce juggernaut still can't quite measure up to Nvidia's engineering prowess. Amazon's chips may help cut costs for AWS, but they lack the raw horsepower and versatility of Nvidia's leading-edge GPUs. This chip race reflects how important AI has become across the tech sector. But Nvidia maintains a clear advantage, with billions invested annually in R&D and unmatched expertise honed over decades. In today's video, we're going to talk about a recent report that came out, which showcases that Amazon is struggling to keep up with Nvidia, and this might be the case for the other cloud giants as well. We'll also talk about Nvidia stock and whether investors should buy it at its current price. But before we do that, if you want to keep up with Nvidia's latest updates and keep up with the stock market's latest news, you can follow our Twitter account. We post multiple times daily about the biggest changes and catalysts in the market, so click the follow button if you don't want to miss the newest market updates. Now, back to today's video.
If the markets continue to hear higher for longer from a range of Fed speakers or from the lead actor, as you mentioned, then that can kind of sideline the effect to which the Fed has on the markets, and the markets perhaps hang their hat on something else. I mean, for a while it's been in Nvidia and the broader kind of thematic trade of AI. How long can that still be the case?
Well, the Nvidia trade can last a long time. I wrote a piece, that Nvidia is the atlas holding up the market to some extent. And you know what? I can't get in the way of this stock. I can't think of a stock that has been so remarkably consistent at beating estimates, raising estimates, beating them again, raising them again. Rinse, repeat. And this is, if I shudder to think what the markets would do if Nvidia stumbled. That's why I say it's sort of if Atlas shrugs, so to speak. But that can overweigh it. The other thing to think about is we managed to go from pricing in 6 to 7 rate cuts to now 1 to 2 for this year. The reason we got away with this is it's because the economy is doing okay. People, ultimately, the market's not really about the Fed. It's about earnings. It's about companies making money. It's about them being able to grow and return money to shareholders. All those nice things. And you know what? A rate cut is helpful. But really, what's the difference if the companies aren't making money? So be careful what you wish for. We don't want necessarily a weak economy that'll bring us rate cuts. I'm fine, and I've been saying this all year, I'm quite okay with having a strong economy that doesn't bring us rate cuts if it brings us earnings and cash flows.
The Business Insider published an article that said that Amazon has apparently faced some issues when it comes to increasing the adoption of their internally developed AI chips. According to confidential documents and sources, there are concerns about project migration to Amazon's chips, as well as technical compatibility gaps with some systems. Additionally, usage of the chips has been low so far. These challenges have put revenue at stake for Amazon's cloud business. Amazon Web Services makes significant money from cloud services, so any slowdown in the adoption of their AI chips could impact that revenue stream drastically. Overall, it seems Amazon is having more difficulty than expected creating AI chips that can compete with Nvidia's GPUs for machine learning workloads, and there are still challenges to work through before Amazon's chips are seen as a formidable option. For now, Nvidia remains the leader in advanced AI acceleration chips. Not only that, but major AWS components leverage Nvidia GPUs, and Nvidia even announced that Amazon will be one of the first companies to get their hands on its new Blackwell GPUs once they come out. So, even though Amazon is making its own chips, it still can't abandon Nvidia completely because of how advanced Nvidia's tech is. And in addition to AWS, other cloud giants like Microsoft and Google, who make their own chips, are some of Nvidia's biggest customers. Another thing Nvidia has over these companies is software, and that's what really makes Nvidia an ecosystem play rather than a semiconductor play or even an AI play. So let's get right into it and explain what this means. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Investocracy.
Don't trade it. That's been my mantra for ages now, and it's one of the best calls of my lifetime. After this magnificent run to just under 1,140, up another 7% today, well, maybe you got to start wondering, is it just luck? Did my travel trust simply get caught up in some sort of crazy maelstrom? After a day when Nvidia really did define the trading, Dow declining 217 points, S&P inched up 0.02%, tech-laden NASDAQ gained 0.59%. It's worth looking at Nvidia and asking, is it too much? Or as the bears will put it, enough already! Now, there are at least two schools of thought about Nvidia. There's one of the Rigor, one of my favorite analysts in the stock, that's Ben Reichs from Melius Research, who put out a piece this morning titled, Nvidia shares still pack a lot of value, end quote. And then there's the momentum analysis from Dan Fitzpatrick, a technician who nailed Nvidia better than most. Of course, given how long we've owned this one for the Travelers Trust, I have my own opinions. I love Nvidia. Why? Because it remains an intellectual powerhouse run by the smartest person I've ever met, Jensen Huang. More than a decade ago, he traced out what could happen with accelerated computing and artificial intelligence. He knew he'd develop super fast chips that could do amazing things, including human-like inference and human-like learning. What I didn't realize when I first met Jensen was he was obsessed with the concept of speed. The speed you need to run cutting-edge video games since 1993 when he co-founded the company. At one point, Intel considered going against NVIDIA, but they weren't interested in the graphic cards business, staying focused on old-fashioned central processing units. Ultimately, graphic cards ended up having much more computing horsepower, to the point where they now do a heck of a lot more than graphics, and Intel, on the other hand, no.
Software is very important for Nvidia because if the company was just a hardware company, margins would be much lower than what they are now. Also, many companies are now making their own AI chips, so Nvidia needs software to move forward as other tech companies try to reduce their reliance on it. Since software is now a big part of Nvidia's whole ecosystem, even if other big tech names come out with their own chips, most of them would probably want to run on Nvidia's software as well, or at least be compatible on it. Additionally, Nvidia's CUDA programming platform is widely used among developers for AI and other applications. This gives Nvidia an advantage compared to Amazon's more nascent efforts like their neural machine image, which does not yet have the same level of adoption. Developers tend to prefer sticking with CUDA since the industry has coalesced around it and there is more support available. Amazon is still working on growing its developer community and solving teething issues as their platforms evolve. Unlike Nvidia's iterative refinement of CUDA over decades, Amazon has to take more of a trial and error approach in catching up. This makes it harder for Amazon to displace Nvidia's established platform ecosystem in the near term. If you made it this far into the video, thank you. These videos take a lot of effort and time to make, so if you enjoyed them, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This goes a long way in helping us grow. That said, back to the video.
Joining us now with more on the tech rally and her top picks, Joanne Feeney. She's the portfolio manager at Advisors Capital Management. Joanne, let's start off with Nvidia as it approaches a $2.8 trillion market value. Has it gotten ahead of itself?
Yeah, I don't think so, David. I mean, it's always the case that, a stock's price will build in its future, right? And its future growth prospects are really quite impressive. But to put it in perspective, notice that Nvidia's earnings over the last year have gone up 460%. Its stock has gone up 250%, but earnings, are leading the way. And so actually the multiples come down in the last year. Nevertheless, right, the stock continues to rise on expectations that its growth will be more long lasting than for many other companies in the market that investors can own. So that's why the stock is where it is, and we do see an awful lot of growth ahead of it. Competition is coming, but it's going to take some years for that competition inroads.
Yeah.
Nvidia's singular focus on pushing the boundaries of AI computing has allowed it to build an ecosystem and level of excellence that giants like Amazon struggle to match. Of course, the race is far from over, and Amazon has the resources to be a fierce competitor. But for now, developers, cloud companies, and anyone seeking to harness advanced AI appear to be sticking with Team Nvidia. Therefore, betting against Nvidia is a great way to punch your ticket to steep losses, with shares continuing to blast off as investors have more of a chance to consider just how good those latest quarterly numbers were. Not only did Jensen Huang, a man that Wedbush Securities' Dan Ives refers to as the godfather of AI, pull off another magical beat, but he also stunned many analysts who already had unrealistically high hopes. In Q1, Nvidia reported a 262% increase in revenue year over year, and that's almost impossible to even fathom for a company with a $2.8 trillion market cap. It looks to be full speed ahead for the AI boom, and at this pace, Nvidia could become the world's most valuable company as soon as this summer. Indeed, topping estimates that were already absurdly lofty does not happen often. The latest earnings prove that Nvidia is in a league of its own. As it continues innovating on AI accelerators, software, and the Omniverse, Nvidia's work-focused vision of the metaverse, please do not bet against Nvidia stock. It hasn't worked, and it probably won't anytime soon. But what do you think about Nvidia stock? Is it a buy at the current price? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. And don't forget to tell us what your valuation for Nvidia is. If you would like to know what companies like Nvidia have been up to these past few days, go ahead and click on the next video on your screen. See you there.